Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Mariner of Spirit and the Supernatural Link Network. I'm Greg. I'm your host, and tonight we have a special show. This has been in the planning since I was down in Key West in January, and I met these great people. And before we start off, what I want to do is mention a few things. Number one, it's the authors I support. And before that, I want to go ahead and mention the people or the businesses. And I have two sets of people right now. I had three. One of them's on a hiatus. But the first one is where am I at? I have Potographs, and Potographs is a sort of a fundraising type institution that's put together by a friend of mine from up in Wisconsin, Tim Miley, and his wife Lauren. And what they do is, a long time ago, it was started out with just Tim, and Tim had a pooch, and the pooch died, and Tim was really in despair. And he had already started in the paranormal a little bit, and what happened was he didn't know if he was going to make it, if he was going to go on. And he finally decided there was a Paracon that was coming up on the weekend, and he decided to take his a picture of himself and his pooch to the Paracon because he knew a bunch of people there. And he started selling pictures of himself and his pup. And that flourished to the point where he started going ahead and deciding that he was going to set up sort of like a fundraiser. And that fundraiser turned into Potographs. And what Potographs is, it's just exactly a fundraiser, but he has guest speakers, and he has like 3 or 4 really good guest speakers, people top notch from the paranormal community mostly, or meet psychic mediums and things like that he uses at these events, and everybody, it's one big happy family. And he's got one coming up shortly, and it's going to be up in Houghton Lake, Michigan. I don't have the date written down right now, but it's going to be coming up pretty soon, and he's going to have it up there, and it's going to be a great time. So if you get the opportunity, run into him, say hi. And all of his money all goes to animal shelters, that kind of thing, helping out the animals. So the second one is PKC, Paranormal Kicks Cancer, with Chris Gaskowski and Alex Wilkinson. I've been trying to get a hold of them for about 2-3 weeks now, and I keep on missing. And what they do is basically the same thing. They do fundraisers for cancer research, and they'll do haunted houses, and then they'll go ahead and they'll do haunted locations, and there'll be a basic charge per person for the investigation at night. And what they do is I'll take all that money, and it goes towards cancer research. Secondly, the thing that I would like to mention is the authors that I support. And these are basically people that have written books that have been on the show. So I'm going to start out with Bruce Holliday, Tobias Wayland, Adam Benedict, Kathy Kressel, Barnaby Jones, Sherilyn Cotter, Dr. Heatherly Langdon, Lynn Monet, Ron Iacovetti, Victoria Munday, Tony Rathman, Natalie Jones, Patty Negri, Sylvia Schultz, Amelia Cotter, Rex Nielsen, David Sloan, Christina Bloom, D.A.Y. Song, Joseph Hallant, Dr. Rebecca Foster, and I think I already said Rex Nielsen, but that's neither here nor there. It's good to go ahead and promote him twice anyway, because he's one hell of an artist. Anyway, the people that I have on tonight, I went ahead and I met the couple down in Key West at one of the forts in Key West. That's I want to say it's called Monticello. It's one of them. I've been to both of them now, and this is the one that means the most to me, because this is the one that Robert the Doll's in. And they have him in a big plexiglass case now. It's a lot different from when I first met him. But we're going to go ahead and talk about all that when I bring him on. So I have Chris Susi, and I have his wife, Megan, and I'm going to bring him on now. Welcome.
Hello,
Hi.
thank you.
Am I butchering your last name?
Nope, that's it. I was just debating whether or not that was going to be a thing.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure. I don't like doing that to people.
No, you got it in one.
Fantastic.
Okay, so how's everything going tonight?
Great. We are sitting in a haunted museum in the middle of the night. That's always a nice way to spend your evenings.
I don't love coming here at night. When we come into I'll leave my phone by mistake. We'll come back around and all the lights are off, and I'm like, it's nasty in here. Not my favorite. Like when we're doing a ghost hunt, nothing. But left your phone behind, scary.
So the energy changes?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. It's like stepping onto a plane. The pressure is insane. And so when we got here and the lights are all off and it's just the one red light, it's like, no. And so we turn on some lights. Usually we'll play some music if we're here, especially by ourselves, just to kind of get it moving again.
Yeah.
So yeah. Chris, are you from down in Georgia?
So I was a military brat, and I was in the Army. And when I got out, this is just where I landed. So I have been here for 30 years, but that does not make me a local.
No.
Savannah is very,
very... If your grandparents were born here, you're maybe a local. But not 3 generations back doesn't count.
So Megan, you're from Chicago.
I am from Chicago. Yep. I ended up here going to SCAD, which is the local art college. And when I graduated in 2011, I stuck around.
So, and I understand you're a fantastic photographer.
Thank you. Yes,
Truth.
That's true. Yeah.
I haven't seen any of your work yet, but that's is it mostly, what is it, fashion or?
It's a women's portrait studio. I always by women for women. So we do pinup, glamour, and boudoir photo shoots.
Boudoir.
Boudoir.
I can't even say that word.
It's French. There's too many vowels.
Yes,
bedroom.
I understand.
Bedroom shoots.
Bedroom.
Where in Chicago were you?
Northbrook, Illinois, which is about 20 minutes north of the city if you have a speeding problem, which I did. It's a northern suburb, though. And, yeah, I would say 20 minutes north of the city if you're going fast, and in rush hour, about 2.5 hours away from the city.
I grew up in the northwest side in Austin, and from Austin, we moved out to Arlington Heights.
Yep.
And my parents had a house built on a tollway lake.
Okay, yeah.
And I was there for about maybe 4 or 5 years before I was drafted. And then I left and went far, far away.
Yep, that happens.
So, and I'm glad I'm here. But anyway, it's Chris. You said that you actually have been there for 30 years.
Yep.
So you were in the military there too?
Yes, I got out of the military here.
Okay, and where were you at?
So actually, I was in out of Fort Riley, and then out of Fort Bragg, and then out of I bounced around. I was around. Went through Iraq and Saudi.
Okay, so you probably have quite a few stories about some of those.
A few. I stick to ghost stories these days, though.
That's a great move
Yes,
compared to what I heard.
Really.
That's unbelievable. So we all met at Monticello.
Standing around Robert the Doll.
Classic meet cute.
And it was a great night. Why don't you go ahead and let people know about the experience that you had there that night?
So, Robert the Doll was kind of like a rock star entity when it comes down to it. You knew him by reputation. He was featured in so many different media. And for the longest time, I was saying that it felt like at least, the 80s was when I was introduced to him. Or around thereabouts. I can't pin it right down, but I know that I became aware of him long ago. And he was just one of those like, oh gosh, if you ever get the chance, if it's ever a thing that you can do, you should try to, be in the presence of Robert the Doll. Given his fascinating story and this incredible sort of lineage to his story. And that gives you all this wonderful thing because the whole town, all of Key West, kind of bands behind the idea. They knew and acknowledge, oh yeah, that doll, there's something about that doll. And when you have that many people kind of corroborating a story and all kind of giving the energy to the story, it makes it a monumentous, like supernatural event to go and be in the presence of this thing.
So did both of you get the opportunity to spend any time with David Sloan?
Only so briefly. That evening, he was actually there.
Just for a moment, just to say hi.
Just in passing, we exchanged a few words, and then he was gone in the night.
Yeah, he's a fantastic person. I've had the privilege of. First time I met him was probably maybe 6 years ago, something like that. Briefly, the same way.
He's basically the biographer of Robert the Doll. He's right. Responsible for giving us all of the insight, all of the nitty gritty details. So it's really cool that you got to hang out with him and meet him.
That when I first had the opportunity, I had him on the show.
Of course.
And this goes back now about maybe 3 years ago. And it was like, I went ahead and messaged him and I said, we're down there all the time, or not all the time. My brother and sister-in-law had a house up in Summerlin Key, which is 15 minutes outside of Key West. So it's like a no-brainer. And the time before this that I saw you guys he was already at Monticello. And he was brand new there. And I walked in and my wife and my brother and sister-in-law, they took off because they knew they didn't want nothing to do with it. And I went ahead and walked in and, I paid. And they says, are you familiar with Robert? And I said, yes. I've known Robert for quite some time. And they says, okay, so do you want anybody to go with you? And I said, no, that's not necessary. And I just took off. So I was all by myself with them.
Oh, wow.
For probably over an hour.
That's fantastic.
And like we were talking earlier when you guys came on, it wasn't really me like talking to you. It's entirely different, and it's respect. And I think that's the key, because he is still basically a child, but he's not.
No.
So he has to be, you have to use respect with him. You have to be nice. And I get a chuckle because still today, they're still getting those letters.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Have you had an opportunity to see any of those letters?
I have, actually, yes, and it's tremendous. The response that people have, and the visceral effect that he has had on so many people, that even people that didn't realize that they had done anything wrong. It just like their lives started falling apart after being in the presence of Robert the Doll. And they're like, we got to do something. We've got to.
I believe there's some just in case people too. The just in case people who are like, okay, we did this thing, but I'm not taking any chances. Let me write that letter and send a couple bucks or whatever.
That's awesome. And not to cut any of those people down, but at least they have a conscience.
Yeah.
Right. And that's kind of one of those interesting things is sometimes it's hard to put, 2 and 2 together in that context, because people don't spend their lives like we do considering the supernatural, the paranormal, the effects of energies upon us, and how they can quickly turn into just a round of bad luck, and what that actually means and how that actually works. And so a lot of people, they're in it for the fun. They're in it because this is a curiosity and this is a passing interest. And then they find themselves just fully embroiled in a supernatural catastrophe. They are now dealing with something that they couldn't have imagined they would be dealing with. And that's kind of this humbling thing about Robert the Doll, is that so many people have to change how they approach their very lives. Everything about their lives suddenly changes because all of a sudden they're like, oh, you know what? I think I crossed a doll. I think I made a doll mad at me, and now I have to make amends. Now I have to act in accordance to rules that I would have thought were silly before. So I think that is an amazing testimony to really how superstition becomes belief, how it goes from being something that you just kind of fear in the back of your mind to something that you're readily actively trying to counter or engage or dispense with.
I know, Megan, you agree with that 100%, don't you?
Yeah, I definitely do. And I did not know until we had opened the museum the amount of reverence required for certain objects until we had those objects ourselves. We have a doll in this space that she has her own room, and one day somebody left her a dime and a penny, like 2 coins, and I was like, oh my gosh, somebody left her 2 coins, her first offering. She's getting offerings, and now she has 2 tables full of stuff. She's collected hundreds of dollars. People are like, I'm not taking any risks with this one. We're gonna leave a little something from the purse. I've pulled things off of that table. I mean, you would believe it because it's the South, but like things people leave, I'm like, okay, everyone calm down. No more food, no more female sanitary items, no more bullets.
Cigarettes, bullets, anything. People are just like leaving things so that she doesn't, And
it's also a pack mentality. I think people see it and go, oh, that's what we do. And then they leave it too when they never would have if they just walked into a room with no offerings.
Are they all basically pistol rounds?
I think that
I'm curious about that.
Oh yeah, the largest caliber was a 9mm, but most of them are 22s.
Okay,
some people just make their money.
Yeah,
and that's just something that I had in the back of my head because I was curious about that, because normally I have a 40 cal here, and I don't know where the hell I put it. I just keep it here just in case. I have to buy.
Well, if the podcast gets out of hand, you gotta.
You bite the bullet.
You gotta be prepared, right?
So, when you guys started the museum, what's your real goal?
So primarily, the concept behind the museum was to offer a place where people can kind of experience or be in the presence of things that other investigators, other people have put the label of haunted on, so that they can be in an environment that is relatively safe, as safe as we can make it, for them to sort of judge for themselves how they interact and respond. The idea was, we would love to create a paranormal museum that was about how people approach the paranormal world. And so we have a room that's dedicated to like the history of the paranormal and, very old carvings and the witch trials and the Fox sisters. And so the medium movement of the 1800s and how society has always looked at the paranormal or the supernatural and how it's treated it and how it's kind of sifted through our religions and through our tribal approaches to understanding nature. And then we come into a room full of artifacts, things that people say house spirits, and these spirits are restless and they have these things. And so it gives you an opportunity, if you are a deep and fervent believer in it, being in a room where other people have said, this is what's happening here. I think that gives you a little bit of validation for all of those thoughts and beliefs and practices. And if you're a skeptic, it gives you an opportunity to practice your skepticism, to put it into an active sort of engagement with all of these things that people are having a truly profound experiences with. And so our hope is that we are suggesting that the paranormal does not need to be a definitive thing. It needs to be a journey that you go on.
Yeah, it's something everyone experiences differently. And so we do get all sorts in here from, boyfriends dragged by their goth girlfriends and like super believers who were like, would you like to rent this spirit chat while you're here? And they're like, no,
we've got our own.
Got it right here. I am a spirit chat. And so, yeah, each person has their own journey through the museum where they're kind of learning and discovering and hopefully a safe space to try and interact with the paranormal.
I want to say that you're probably right now the 5th woman photographer that I've known in the paranormal community.
Oh, that's so interesting. I wonder what it is that's like both those.
I have no idea, but I
always joke with my photography clients that the portrait studio is the opposite of this business. I'm like, I've opened a second business, and they're like, what is it? I'm like, it is a paranormal museum. Wouldn't that be fun? And they're like, oh.
Although with the advent of photography, the understanding of paranormal advanced, by leaps and bounds. Photography really did like usher in a whole new sort of dynamic of what can be considered paranormal and capturing the paranormal and showcasing it. We have a whole display of famous photographs of purported and supposed ghosts, and we also have like famous fakes, the Mumler pictures.
So you have a lot of full body apparition pictures?
Oh yeah. Well, and we have like the famous ones, the Bachelor's Grove ghost and the Amityville little boy looking around the corner.
It's like historic or famous, not things that I've captured.
I know the lady Judy Huff.
Oh yes,
took the picture.
Took the picture at Bachelor's Grove. Absolutely.
We belonged to the same group.
Yes, absolutely. That was like 94, right?
And this was the Dale Kazmarek and his group.
Yep.
Which was Paranormal Research Society.
I believe that is correct. Yeah. PRS. Yeah.
And I still hang with half of that group.
That's fantastic. And that was a monumental thing because, like, I had known that picture since its inception. However, I always thought it was older. I always thought like that was like from the 60s. That was like such a long time ago. It's actually a relatively modern picture.
People really took a great deal of time trying to debunk that picture.
It is one of the best out there. Yeah.
And I was one of the guys in the group is a documentarian. So he's done 4 documentaries now. And the first one he did was it's called 1,000 Words, and it's Bachelor's Grove.
Sure.
So we all were part of his documentary. And we even had, I don't know if you know this name or not. Her name is Reverend Christina Rake. She's now Bishop Rake in the Old Catholic Church. And she was there. When I got there, I didn't know what was going to be going on. You know, we got there, and there's a road that leads you to the cemetery in the forest. And you go down this road, and he had all these tables set up, and he had all these people. And, you know, we were all sitting there waiting, and said, why are we waiting? Because they had a girl dressed up like the Madonna.
Oh, sure.
In the white dress, and they were taking pictures, and at the same time they were taking readings to see if there was something happening at the same time they were taking the pictures. And then we were all brought in. He had 3 film crews with real commercial big video cameras. And they followed us around. We had 3 groups, and the first run was basically practice. And if we experienced anything, we had a map, and we had it jot down the location. And then he took the 3 maps and put them together and took the highest 3 locations. So that's where we concentrated the night's investigation.
It's amazing.
I've been there now a bunch of times.
Oh, sure. I mean, it literally became just this hotbed, right? You know, when you discover something like that.
And it was really amazing. And I know that you probably have 10 of those locations down by you, easy.
Savannah is just a very celebrated haunted town. And that's kind of one of the interesting things, because one of the things that we like to talk about is people are like, you know, why is it so haunted? And it's like, well, it's interesting. I think it has to do with the attitude of the populace, the fact that we don't bury the ghost stories, that we don't shoo them away or say that it's nonsense. We just incorporate it into our daily lives, and it becomes this acceptance, this level of acceptance that allows for the ghost stories to kind of resonate and have a foothold. And wherever you go that people are open to the ghost story, I think the ghosts are more vibrant. I think they have something to, connect with and to be connective about. And so Savannah just has it in spades. There's countless ghost tours here. There's countless locations that acknowledge and celebrate that they're haunted. And so you get these opportunities time and time again to go into investigations, to go into, just to walk into a building and be like, oh yeah, this building is famously very haunted. And that gives you a way to encounter across the entire city all of these places that people just accept are haunted. They don't spend any time arguing it. They don't spend any time trying to dismantle the stories or make them, sort of, oh, you're a crackpot if you believe in ghosts. In Savannah, if you don't believe in ghosts, you're considered weird.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of happy spirit done by you.
Absolutely.
They're getting all the attention they crave, that's for sure.
And we're sure we pick up like hitchhiking ghosts all the time.
So you what? You pick them up?
We get hitchhiking ghosts. What we get is ghosts that come here from other places, and they just find that they're able to exist here.
It's like the big YMCA, right? And they all
it's like a big ghostly YMCA.
That's awesome. So if you wanted to go ahead, if you had your picks on, say, the 3 best locations besides your museum, what would they be?
In Savannah?
Yeah.
So Moon River
Brewery.
And unfortunately, they were celebrated. It's a restaurant. They were very celebrated for having ghosts. The tours would go down to their very haunted basement. And then one day, about a year ago, they posted on Facebook and they said, we're closed by this weekend. Bye. And they shut it down. The restaurant gone.
It is closed right now.
The doors locked. The server is uninformed except for that Facebook post. Derelict. And it's like, if I had the money, if I had the ability, we would buy that space. It was so haunted.
It was it's on every ghost hunting show.
All of the shows that
Savannah,
came here did
Moon River Brewer was definitely one there. The next one would be Sorrel Weed House. Yeah. Also very famously haunted, very famously.
And they do ghost
promoted.
tours and investigations, and they let the trolleys come by that house too. We've done an investigation or two in our time there as well.
And then Savannah Theater.
I knew you were going to say that as the third one.
The Savannah Theater, I worked there for 20 plus years.
And
I know all the ghosts really well.
Many stories for the Savannah Theater.
We get along just fine. And
so, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was going to say, and now they actually offer nightly ghost hunts in the Savannah Theater. So like you can go in and they'll give you equipment and they'll give you this opportunity to go into the shadows and poke around. And yeah, it's a super active place.
There's a place close to something like that out in DeKalb, and it's called the Egyptian Theater.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
There were only 3 of them or 4 of them, I think, in the whole United States back in the 30s. And I think this is the only one left, or there may be one in California.
Yeah.
But anyway,
I think I do know the DeKalb one because it was that Art Deco
Egyptian.
And yeah, they went all in for the Egyptian look. Yeah,
it's fantastic. We investigated there once.
Oh, fantastic!
And we went by it 2 weekends ago, and we went to DeKalb for a Paracon that was held at Northern Illinois University.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, sure.
And we had a bunch of our friends there, but it's really neat to know the theater element of it, because that's an entirely separate entity.
We spend a lot of our time expressing that
all theaters
are haunted. It doesn't matter if it was built last year or 100 years ago, they're all haunted.
Yeah.
And that is a fair assumption because of the type of energy that goes into maintaining and having a theater is all about basically putting life into a building. And that life energy, whether it is, these overpowered lights hanging from, the bars, or just the people on stage
and their energy,
creating and recreating and speaking words that have been spoken for, centuries, all of these things, they coalesce into an environment that ghosts would find very welcoming.
Are you familiar with the stage light?
Oh, yes. The ghost light.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Have you been to theaters that have had that?
Oh yeah, the Savannah Theater. We had a ghost light.
I'm sorry.
The entire time. We actually, it's funny. We were doing a show. It was To Kill a Mockingbird. While we were doing To Kill a Mockingbird, we were plagued with ghostly activity, and we would leave that ghost light on. But when we came in the mornings to build the set, it would be off. And it was the creepiest thing, because you walk in and it was just like this pitch black, darkness. And I was like, the reason, the secondary reason you leave a ghost light on is so that you can move around the stage and not, fall off or get harmed in any way. And we'd walk into this pitch black darkness, and you're like, wait, I know I left that ghost light on because I am scared of ghosts. So I would leave the light on. And it would be off, and it would be physically off. Like, you had to turn it on and turn it to turn it off.
That's the one thing that I learned at the Egyptian Theater, and didn't really understand it at first.
Yep.
But the longer we were there on the stage doing our investigation, the more it made sense. And the more it became part, because it drew you in too.
Oh, absolutely.
Which is really great. Your museum has got to be amazing. If we do another show, and I'm not ending now, I'm just bringing this up because I'm short on my memory.
Sure.
But I would love to do something where we go through the whole thing and you show your museum.
Sure, absolutely.
You know what I mean? Because
we tried to set ourselves up nicely so you have some things behind us, not a green screen. We're actually sitting here in the museum at 10 at night.
What do people are we going to see people looking through the glass doors behind you?
No, not in here. Okay, and if you do, run.
Yeah, if you see anything behind us move, please let us know. We will be heading out of here post haste.
Were you were an Army vet?
Yes.
I was too, but I was in the first one.
Yeah. Yes.
Vietnam. So
right. I saw your hat in Key West.
No, I can't remember back. I remember Robert, but I don't remember my hats. But that's really great. And as far as Megan, all your photography. How long have you been doing that now?
Well, the business I'm running right now, Savannah Glamour, just turned 9 in January. And before that and overlapping that, I specifically shot elopement photography, which is a huge deal in Savannah. Savannah is actually the #1 destination for elopements that are planned. So, we get tons and tons of elopements. My biggest year in elopements, I shot 192, I think. And so as that was going, I know it seems crazy. Usually it was just the bride and groom, the officiant, and me, sometimes a friend, sometimes a parent. And so when that was going well, I think I did that 2013 till I opened my portrait studio in 2017. And then they overlapped until 2021. And then I closed the weddings to take the portrait studio full time.
What was the farthest away that people came for the elopements?
Oh,
England.
Wow.
I think.
Yeah, we had a couple of Germany.
Yeah, I remember specifically there was an English couple and the guy's name was Blue. And they got here and it was one of those times of year where the gnats were so incredibly bad that you couldn't blink without catching gnats in your face. And they were like, "Is it always like this here?" And we're like, "No, you got the bad week. I'm so sorry."
Wow, I really like that, Chris. That's fantastic. Where did you pick up that accent at?
So before this, we co-owned an improv troupe.
We owned
Oh, that's right. You're
Odd Lot. We owned that for a decade.
Yeah, for 10 years we had an improv comedy
2010 to 2020, and then the pandemic shut it down, and we said, "Well, on to bigger and better," and we never brought it back.
I also owned a Shakespeare company, so we produced 10 Shakespeare shows before the pandemic, and then when the pandemic came, all of our theater
was done.
Kind of stopped because, well, there was a pandemic.
Yeah.
And then to start it back up again, we got to be we got used to the idea that there were other pursuits that we could go after. There were other things that we could do. And
that's probably how we ended up here a little bit.
And yeah, we probably wouldn't have this museum had we continued
with all those
producing
other
theater and producing shows.
So what really attracted you to Savannah?
Oh, so for me, it's one of those, I am life happens to me more than I promote things. It's just the thing that was in my path. And I remember very distinctly when I first came to Savannah, I was like, oh, well, I'll just be here for maybe a year or two. I'll just be here to get on my feet and get, situated. And here I am 33 years later.
How about you, Megan?
When I was applying to colleges, after I applied and was accepted to everywhere, my parents told me, "You can't go to any of those. They are too expensive." And so I put together a portfolio and applied to Savannah College of Art and Design, which was also too expensive, but they gave me a half-off discount. And so I came down here to go to college and I studied photography, got my BFA in photography. And when I graduated college, we were already dating. I was already in Odd Lot, the improv troupe. And I was like, what if I just stayed here? This place has got it going on. And I stuck around all this time later. And I've been here 19 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
You got quite a bodyguard there, you know that?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Bodyguard.
When I first met him, I'm surrounded by big guys. So I was
always trying to convince him to wear an earpiece around me. So, I'm like, I can dress up in something nice. You could wear an earpiece. It'd be a great bit.
Talking to my cuff. All right, we're moving.
Yeah.
Okay, we're here.
Wouldn't that be fun?
Can I get another 9, please?
We have a pretty popular TikTok. And in the TikTok features me and him, but our curator, Justin, who doesn't look like him, but everyone thinks they're the same person. So a man comes in to be like, "Where's the big guy who's in all your TikToks?" And he's talking to Chris, and Chris goes, "It's me, I'm here." And he's like, "No, the big guy. Where's the big guy?" And Chris stands up and he's like, "Oh, okay, cool, it's you."
You didn't realize I was sitting behind the counter.
Yeah, so he was like,
"You thought I was standing
behind that counter."
So you've been in art and theater for a long, long time, both of you.
Yeah.
And that's really the amazing part. But you're also a puppeteer.
Yes. Yeah. As a matter of fact, one of my first jobs in Savannah, Georgia was puppeteering. There's a wonderful company here and I got to travel all around the country to do puppets. And it was amazing. It was an amazing thing. But the most important thing about puppetry for me was that it introduced this notion that storytelling is the essential art, no matter what you do, whether you're taking pictures, whether you're painting, whether you're sculpting, whether you're manipulating a puppet or doing a show on stage, a theatrical piece. It's about the telling of a story, which translates into every aspect of our existence. Because if you cannot communicate your interior thoughts and your interior feelings to the next person over, then you are going to be isolated. Then you're not going to be able to, convey the most important elements of our existence. And then I looked at the paranormal world. And the paranormal world has always just been how we explain the things that we can't explain. It was how we came to understand why certain things happened and how they happened. And then we formed them into stories because that's how we were able to pass them along. And so people get very up in arms about how fact heavy a story is, when it's like, well, take a step back and know that there was a reason to tell that story, that the story was born from fear. And, fear blurs facts. You can't always get the facts straight when you're scared, but you can get that sensation straight, pass it to the next person. Then now the next person is scared too, because it's a warning. It's don't go into the woods at night. It's don't make a deal with the devil at the crossroads. Don't, trust the wolf in sheep's clothing. We have to tell those stories in that way so that we consume them in a self-preservation style. And that becomes a lot of superstition, but it's also a key to understanding and unlocking our approach to the paranormal, because paranormal oftentimes seems like just a bunch of scary stuff. But the truth of the matter is it's not. It's wondrous stuff. It's miraculous stuff. It's these incredible things. But we package them in scary stuff because scary is what we don't understand. If you don't understand it, it's scary. And so the stories are scary.
That's a great way to put it. I know that I work I'm a member of two historical societies up here, and I'm up in the Fox Chain Lakes. So I'm up by Antioch, Illinois, which is by the Wisconsin border.
Right.
So we would go in the historical societies and do investigations. And there was a bar. This goes back to before right after I was drafted. And I used to go into this bar. And the name of the bar was the Puppet Bar.
Okay.
And this is a creepy part, okay? The whole entire bar, and it probably would hold 40 people at the bar. And behind the bar, all the way around, were puppets on the wall. Now here's the good part. You could take a quarter and put it in a slot and press it, and the puppets would come to life.
That's fantastic. And it would be terrifying. Yeah, but fantastic.
I can remember only wanting one shot that night when I went in there, and I ended up having 4 before I left. Just because I didn't believe what I was seeing.
Yeah.
Okay.
We had a puppet company, and if you're working alone at night in a puppet company, you've got a wall from the floor to the ceiling, from one end wall to the other end wall, of these slack-jawed puppets just dead eye staring at you. And it is one of the creepiest things imaginable, because you're not thinking that they're haunted. You're thinking, oh, that's going to kill me. That's just going to just pop off the wall and kill me.
Have you ever really thought that one was haunted?
Oh, I've encountered haunted puppets before, not at puppet people, because we made those puppets and we kind of nurtured them, and their exposure to a world that was
Positive.
Right, exactly. Everything we did was with this love and this joy, and we were very happy. And so if they were haunted, they certainly weren't haunted by anything dark or frightening. But that doesn't change the fact that, you're sewing on a puppet at midnight, and there's this puppet over there just staring at you. You get the heebies and the jeebies all over.
Wow. That had to be really cool. They were lending the puppets. There were only 3 puppets left because when they closed the bar down, whatever was left was just plowed over.
Oh man!
And
although what a great idea though, like whoever thought of that? That's amazing.
And the place was always packed except for like middays.
Sure.
Yeah, at night. Families would be in there, that kind of thing. So it was really amazing. I know there's a lot of the history of Savannah and the Civil War and everything else came into play with a lot of the locations down there. Now, is there any other locations that you would say were 100% Civil War related?
Oh, so Civil War, not so much.
What about up on the hill right here?
Well, that's the Spring Hill Redoubt. So the Spring Hill Redoubt was the second bloodiest encounter in the Revolutionary War.
Mm.
Oh, wow.
Some of the most, it's called the bloodiest hour of the Revolutionary War. It was the Hessians, Savannah, in both the Revolutionary War and the Civil War, Savannah was a barricaded city. It was almost instantly overtaken by the enemy. So they quickly became just this blockaded city. So the revolutionaries tried to penetrate into the city. And so we're literally like a stone's throw away from that battlefield. And that is a very specifically and notoriously haunted, because there are accounts of like there's a creek there, and the creek was dammed up by the bodies of the dead. Yeah. So it was like this, there's a lot of stories of that. The Civil War, however, the harshness of the Civil War, the violence of the Civil War stopped just outside of Savannah, like right up to the county line. Sherman stopped there and was like, you can give up or we can burn you down. And he decided to actually make Savannah.
We surrender.
Yeah.
Please don't burn us down.
He made Savannah a Christmas gift to Abraham Lincoln. So he offered Abraham Lincoln as a Christmas gift the city of Savannah. And while Georgia, the entire expanse of Georgia had been burned to the ground. And that's why wherever you go in Georgia, you'll find very little of this historic district. In Savannah, Georgia, we have the largest continual historic district in the country. It is a mile square in all directions of historic marker, historic, streets and lanes, and everything is the same as it was in certain places all the way back into the 1730s.
Yeah, it's on my bucket list.
Yeah, it's definitely worth a visit.
I look at that like I look at some of the other places. I've been very, very lucky. I've been very blessed because I've been to a lot of great locations. Number one on my list is Gettysburg.
Of course.
And, my first actual encounter was when I was 10 at Gettysburg. You got somebody tacking behind you?
Yeah, I was just hearing sounds.
There was a high-pitched squeak sound. I thought it was from your side of things.
No.
Yeah, it's right there. Something.
No, it came from your side.
Yeah,
I want to say
something.
My
over
brain's
there.
like, just justified. It's fine.
It's okay. We're fine. Gettysburg is so tumultuous, and the just the amount of people who've had supernatural and paranormal experiences in Gettysburg just cement it. That there's no real argument about whether or not that is a haunted location.
Yeah, they're you being a vet too. How many times have you been to Gettysburg?
Once. I only went once in my life, and it's very intriguing because I traveled all around the world. I've been able to ghost hunt in 5 continents. So I'm gifted in the fact that we have always been just movers and shakers. I did not get to see that much of the United States. When it really came down to it, I have gone up and down the eastern seaboard. I made it, kind of across the country, but really, I'm not as well traveled in the continental United States.
How about you, Megan?
So I'm a tag-alonger. Like we've really started to double down in the last few years of ghost hunting.
True.
I go around Savannah a ton, but like we really like when we open the museum, we're like, okay, it's time to start, branching out. And so we've gone to Waverly and the Conjuring House, and where are we going in May?
We're going to the Willard Library in late May, and the Willard Library was an amazing thing because like when the internet was first like moving and grooving, they put ghost cams up all throughout the Willard Library. And I used to watch it all night. I used to just sit and watch those cameras all night long. Little crappy security cameras in a library, and they're like, "Look for ghosts." I'm like, "I'm looking." So I am so stoked to be able to go to a place that had that kind of significant impact on me. Being able to
actually be there
physically after decades of watching it on little tiny screens.
The first time I was 10, and I was with my father, my grandmother, my uncle, and my sister. And my father was one of those people that when you went into a location, well, no matter if you're going on a picnic or anything else, the first spot he could pull into, he would pull into.
Sure, absolutely.
And that's where he would stay. And you know how big Gettysburg is.
Oh, yeah.
And he stayed there, and it was probably an hour. And then things started happening. The wind started to come in. Either the wind was coming in or coming out. I can't remember, but it was just all the noises that we all were hearing were related to the wind. And I can remember hearing every sound that you can imagine, from horses to guys screaming to all the different rounds,
Sure.
And then the explosions overhead and the horses screaming. And it took me 2 additional times after I grew up with ghost research to figure out where that spot was. And that was Reynolds Woods.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Okay. And once I found that out, it was on the end of day 2 on the middle trip. And we were we had Rosemary Allen Golly with us, and she was a friend of Dale's, and she was with me quite a bit, and I enjoyed her immensely for everything she knew. And, she's been on so many of those crazy shows, it's not even funny.
Right, exactly.
Even now, and she's been gone for 2 or 3 years. But the Triangular Field was another location that I went down halfway, and she and her husband went all the way down to the creek, and across the road up on top of the hill, beyond the hill, was Devil's Den. So, and then I was on a giant piece of granite. It was getting dark, and I set up. I was right off the edge of the forest, and I could actually feel them come out.
Oh, wow.
Because I asked them. I said, I was a vet, and, I'm here to go ahead and ask you if I can help you.
Sure.
And then I just could feel it. And it was an amazing experience. And that's the night that I went totally ITC. I pretty much threw everything else out the window. I still do the other stuff, but
sure.
I don't, the effort behind going ahead and actually, you still got something going on?
Yeah, that was a big thump, but it might have been going on outside.
Outside?
We're going to go with that. Yes.
We got that classic conundrum where Chris is did you hear that? And I'm it was this.
You dropped that watermelon off that shelf.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. No big deal. Don't worry about it.
Everything's
so fine. When you were saying that before, Megan, I wouldn't cut yourself short, because look at all the people that are in the paranormal community that don't have half of what you guys have with right there.
Absolutely.
It's very true. And ultimately, I think that it's important to have the full spectrum of sensitivities.
If everybody's super sensitive or everybody's super, did you hear that? Nobody's there to be like, right. Okay, listen, you got to have
grounded people.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'm like a helium balloon. I will just disappear.
I'm the ultimate grounded person. I'm not a disbeliever at all in any way, but I'm going to listen, and I'm going to use all my senses, and I'm going to justify what I can. I'm going to say that was a phenomenon that we've just experienced. Right. And we've experienced some phenomenons for sure. But yeah, every little tapping in here, I'm like, I don't think so. I don't know.
Do you go around in there at night and take pictures?
I haven't yet.
We have.
You have?
Yeah.
I see, not with my camera with the flash.
Oh no, not with our.
Because usually what I would do on a paranormal investigation, I haven't done this in over a decade, is I would take my camera with the flash and pop the flash, because I like to catch the orbs. I once saw a cloud right above his head only with the flash. You remember that? Yeah. I lost that picture. It was
almost like ectoplasm. It was very thick and billowy, kind of
I should put it together though, the flash and the camera. I have not done that here yet, but it's on the list.
Oh, there's some places and things. My first full-bodied apparition came from Old South Pittsburgh Hospital.
Oh, sure.
And Ronnie D is a friend of mine who actually lived in the town over from me in Fox Lake. And we got to know each other. And after I came back, he had already bought the building. And it was amazing, because the person that had him before him, the place was a pit.
Sure.
And the way it happened, and the reason I asked you that question, if you have taken pictures like that, is because I found that the spirit had actually manipulated my film. So in other words, the whole entire time I was at Old South Pit, I took probably 75 pictures. And when I got, you in your head, you could pretty much had a timeline of what days and, when you took those pictures. And we were in a location that was the boiler room. And it was at the beginning of day 2. And then I had a whole other day of pictures after that. Okay. So that when I got home and, put it in and started going through the pictures on the computer, I didn't have any idea what I was looking for, number one. So I was just going through the pictures. And all of a sudden, I got all the way down. It was the last picture that I took, supposedly, but it wasn't, because it was over here.
Huh.
But whatever they did to manipulate it to maybe get me to miss it
Interesting.
is the way I looked at it. It
Sure.
was like, what? And, it caught me, and I went ahead and I brought it to the group. And this is, I was still with Ghost Research, but we didn't go down there as Ghost Research. And they looked at it and it was like, wow, that's a really neat apparition. That's that nurse up on the third floor, And I went, oh, wow. And he goes, the old guy, that he's dead now, one of the members, about 2 months later, we got together. We were on another investigation. He came up and he gives me a little envelope and he says, this is for you. He says, check it out. And I opened it up and I looked, and there was a opaque apparition of her in the room. And what's really crazy about both of these pictures is the fact the one that I captured, at her feet was her cat. Okay. And the one that was taken where she's opaque, the cat was there too. That picture was taken 5 years before mine.
How odd. That's amazing.
Maybe I just need to start bringing my camera on our ghost investigations.
I'm telling you.
And we're actually thinking of setting up a dedicated running security camera array so that everything is covered and everything is being recorded at all times.
You imagine the things that you could go ahead and show people that would be captured, and that I can feel your museum through the screen.
A lot of people, and we have put so many wards and so many protections from cultures all around the world, but it does get heavy in here. Sometimes it just it's almost like
there's a lot of energy that's coming through, a lot. I'm not saying it's positive or negative.
No, it's just a thickness sometimes.
Yes.
It's people complain about like dizziness or
stomach aches
or that pressure. They feel pressure.
Yeah, pressure in the chest.
Do you mind going a little longer, or you guys got to get out of there?
We got a couple more minutes left.
How many more minutes you got?
Probably like 10 more minutes?
Yeah, we can give it 10 more.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a little later here, so we got a big.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, it's after 11 then, right?
Yeah, but we can go to 11:15 or so. That's okay.
Okay. Because we start talking about this stuff, sometimes it's really hard to go ahead and just stop.
That's how you end up with a museum. You're talking about it, you can't stop.
I am very, very envious because of the people that I know besides you people that have establishments like that.
And our big joke was, Chris was always the guy who was called in the middle of the night. We've been together for 15 years, 16 years. People would call him in the middle of the night. He'd be like, I've got to go. I'm like, where are you going? He's like, I've got to pick up a haunted artifact. Do you want to come? Yeah, sure. And so he's collecting these haunted things that his friends, family, friend of a friend's uncle didn't know what to do with. And, I'd go along with, but I have a very specific rule, and that is it's not allowed in the house. If it was causing havoc in their life, in their hands, in their house, it is not allowed in our house. And so we had the most haunted shed and Chris's car trunk.
My trunk.
Haunted shed?
Yes.
Because it all went in the shed. It's not allowed in the house. Not allowed in the house. I don't allow ghost hunting in my house because I live there and I don't want to know. We don't allow haunted artifacts in the house. And so when he collected enough stuff, we started getting ready for the museum. And then we purchased another gentleman's museum. He was closing shop. We purchased his museum, but it came in so many big boxes, we didn't know what to do with it. So it sat in our front like a mud room. for months because we didn't have the space yet. We were looking for the space. And one day our dog goes up to the boxes and he sits with them and he's like, bark, 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 bark at this thing. And I'm like, that's it.
Yep, got to move it.
That's
it's time to move
it. We can't, it's not allowed here.
And what's even worse is after we moved the boxes and got them into the museum space, the dog would go to that same spot and bark.
Are you guys familiar with Greg and Dana Newkirk?
Oh, yes, absolutely. They're amazing.
Okay. Do you have like a sort of a connection line, a line of communication between the haunted locations where, you know, if something goes on in one location that you would be able to call the other one? And
no, unfortunately, we don't know them personally. We know them by reputation and by their work. I mean, they do an incredible, job of documenting and creating, a media that other people can consume, which is amazing. And we actually, right when we were starting, they were doing their stage tour, where they were, doing like a presentation all over the country.
The Haunted Museum.
In the Haunted Museum tour, yeah. And it was like, that's really incredible. And it was one of those things that was like, that is exactly the kind of notion that we're after, is this kind of, let's bring awareness of the paranormal. Let's bring an idea of all of these facets and all these wonderfully intricate details about paranormal phenomenon to anybody who's interested.
Yeah, I met them a long time ago in Chicago. It was one of the big Chicago Paracons. I used to go to all of them in Chicago, and I can remember going up to them, and we were talking, and they had like 8 dolls there. And I'm looking at the dolls, and I pull my phone out, and I'm looking at, and there was one, and I said, no, I am not taking a picture of that doll. Okay, I don't care. And I'm looking, and I have one over here that I thought was, much more palatable. And I took the picture of the doll. True story. 2 days later, I'm with a group of people from my group, and I said, here's the pictures of the dolls that they had. And this is really a pretty doll. Okay. And I go there, and guess what? It wasn't that picture.
Oh, no.
It was the other
one. The one you avoided?
And I went ahead and I sent them a message because I'm a Patreon with them.
Oh, yeah.
And I sent it, and I told them, I said, there's something really, well, that's because that he rules the roost.
He's taking all the attention.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It was crazy. Have you ever had that with your dolls?
We have a couple that do weird things like that. In the back over there is Charlotte.
Okay.
And Charlotte messes with phones, something fierce.
Yeah.
One of the big stories that came out was that she, somebody had kind of mishandled her. And from the moment she mishandled her, the woman's phone, it changed its ringtone to some very creepy sound. And she could not get it changed. So she actually bought a new phone. And when she got the new phone, the creepy sound, she couldn't get the creepy sound off of her phone.
And that was a story that this doll came with.
Yeah.
And then we had a woman come through, and something similar happened where her lock screen, like her home screen, was just, it looked like a close-up of gray rocks. It was very strange.
Yeah.
And she's like, she had left, and then she came back a little later that same day and was like,
she's like, what is going on with my phone?
Charlotte got my phone. I think she did something because it started when I was around this doll.
And my curator, actually, right after we got Charlotte, we had maybe had her for a week. He wakes up in the middle of the night to a Facebook notification. It's like, ding, Facebook notification. He looks, and it says, you have a message from Charlotte. And he's like, that's funny. So he takes a screenshot of it. When he opens up his Facebook, he does not have a message from Charlotte. He doesn't have a friend named Charlotte. He looked to see if he had friends in Charlotte, nothing. Somehow he got this ding of notification saying you've got a message from Charlotte.
Was she was under duress, maybe?
Well, I think she just likes to mess with people.
Yeah, I'd say so. And she's very like, I don't know. She's one of my favorites here. Don't tell the others. I love her. I think she's really sweet.
She's a sassy one.
During the day, we give her a dead bow and we let her run it. And I've gotten a lot of good yes, no's out of her. Like we got 1 ding for yes, 2 for no. And we have conversations with her and we leave the bell set up while people come through and it freaks them out. But if you look at her and you talk with her, she won't ring it. But the second you turn away, she's going to start dinging it.
Yeah,
she's like,
she wants
keep paying
that
attention to
attention.
me.
Right.
That's fantastic. So I want to say thank you very much for being here.
Absolutely. Our
Thanks for
pleasure.
having us.
It was amazing. I had a great time.
We had fun too.
Yeah, absolutely. It's great getting to know you.
We'll have to set up the museum tour for the next one.
Yeah, and we will. And you, depending on how you want to play it as far as dates concerned, if you want to keep it within this year, that's fine. Just give me an idea when you have an idea of how your time is and how
Sure.
it's available. And I hope you guys have a great deal of fun this summer.
Thank you.
Running around and checking things out and
And
take.
you'll have to come and visit Savannah. For
Yeah.
No,
sure.
I will. I don't know about this year, but maybe next.
At your earliest convenience.
I'm one of those guys that, I don't know. Were you near any burn pits?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Okay.
We
That's all I
had to do the stirring with the
I don't
tent pole.
I don't think we have to say any more on it. I was just curious, and I apologize for bringing it up at this time because
That's fine.
I feel the same way.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we're sort of brothers to a certain extent.
Absolutely.
We are brothers.
Band of
you know.
brothers.
Yeah. So different areas. I think I'd rather I always said I'd rather have the desert than the jungle. And I work for
The jungle too. So I had a nice spread, even spread. I spent time in South America in the jungles there, and that was no fun either.
How about in real fast? What did they call those ones over in when you were in Iraq?
What do we call?
The spooks, the ghosts.
Oh, so fantastically, we ran into Bedouins, and they would tell us the stories of the jinn.
Jinn.
The
Okay,
jinn
that
were and their big thing was that their belief where we were in Iraq, they were like, this is where all monsters, all of them came from. If there was a vampire or werewolf anywhere in the world, they were born in this desert because the mother of monsters was in the desert, and that she spewed all of this evil into the world. And that was a part of their kind of belief. And then the smokeless fire of the jinn and their power, because they were kind of, it's interesting because jinn seem like demons. They fit into the demon category as far as like their power set and how they interact with humans, but they're not patently evil. They are their own thing. They respond and answer and interact in a very specific pattern. So you can approach them, or when they come to you, it's not like instantly, oh, this is the end, this is the worst. But you cannot engage with them because the way they think of the universe is so alternate to ours that what is good to them is detrimental to us, and what makes sense to them is insanity to us. So it's one of those things where you kind of learn that all these cultures were dealing with how people fall apart, and they find these supernatural causes and these supernatural reasons, and they put it upon them. And so these creatures are formed from the definition of our weaknesses and our ailments and what destroys us and harms us. So it becomes this interesting sort of negotiation when you start dealing with spirits from different cultures.
Yeah, that's amazing. I'll remind me sometime to go ahead and tell you the story about that sergeant over there.
Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you, Megan. Thank you,
Thank
Chris. It was awesome. And we will see you around. If you want to hang around for a minute after I close it out, that's fine too. It's up to you.
Okay.
I'll be here. So have a great evening.
All right.
Good night, everybody.
Good night. It was
Ha 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 ha.